En este caso a Ginóbili. Ahora se la dan lejos del aro a Duncan. Y encesta justo a tiempo Tim Duncan.
O sea, en todo momento con el codo, Shaquille O'Neal.
Lindo pase. Ahí ven el genio. Haslam, tapa de Duncan. Parker, línea de fondo. Bowen con espacio. De vuelta a Duncan y no hay doble marca. Ahora por fin llega. Dejaron solo a Ginóbili. Escoge tu veneno. San Antonio. Paredes marque. Cómo tiene recursos este Duncan. Llega a doble marca, aunque amenaza por ahí Udry. Aparece Bowen. ¡Oh! La tapa a O'Neal. Falla en el intento.
Son candidatos en el este. Pero cuando tú vienes a San Antonio a jugar contra un equipo como este, que juega bien, de hecho, mientras vemos la gran jugada de Tim Duncan.
Trasfondo. Y el tipo de entretemporadas que ha disfrutado este joven. Bowen al aro, sí señor. Duncan al aro. Remata. Y pide tiempo Miami.
With the San Antonio Spurs having won 4 consecutive games, Ginóbili finds Tim Duncan inside. Nesterovic into Tim Duncan. And Duncan, one of the top rebounders in the NBA, number 2 overall, gets his own miss and gives the Spurs a 4-0 lead. Tony Parker. And now with 6 to shoot, it's Tim Duncan. First time All-NBA first team selection a season ago.
Turnovers. San Antonio has 13 turnovers. Coach, after Larry Brown left, it was such a miserable year last year with the injuries. Duncan with the follow-up here in the three-point play. But last year, Allen
run. And a slim 1-point San Antonio lead. Tim Duncan again comes through a game-high 26 points in this game. That one lead change. Tim Duncan kisses it off the glass, and Duncan's got 28 a game. Here's Barry and Tim Duncan. He uses the glass about as frequently as any single shooter in the league. 18 points, 7 assists, and 4 rebounds.
What a nice pass.
Tim Duncan with a game-high 32 points. Bruises Parker. Ginóbili. Tim Duncan. And that is a game-high 34 points for Tim.
If you can get some early baskets, you can really build up some confidence. But again, you don't want to stop. You want to keep doing that throughout the course of this game.
Here's a pick and roll. Duncan, no. Tipped by Nesterovic is good.
Yeah, Vince Carter's got to step up. If you stop tip is ineffective, Chris Paul.
Raptors 4-5 to start the ball game. They lead the Spurs by 4. Nesterovic again going inside from Duncan. Rose with 8. Late Rose looking for Duncan, and the soft way-in is good.
How many result? There's a lot of respect across the board.
The players know who the sheriff is in San Antonio.
See, that's too easy right there.
It's Duncan against Bosch.
Notice that last step. He's got his man back. He's
by Carter. Duncan to Ginóbili. 4 on the clock. Duncan turns and hooks.
See, good basketball. The big man didn't have it. He gets rid of it.
Let him to his ball club. Raps hanging in, trailing by 3. And a high-low pass. Ori to Duncan. Count the foul.
Look at that. Keeping that ball up with one hand, catching it, and also directing it in towards the hoop. And this is just great hands. Soft hands, great control. Keeping Lauren Woods occupied with the left as he was grabbed and still managing to make that shot.
It's giving it up to Ray for Alston. Alston splits the defense. Duncan. And it's knocked out of bounds by Bosch.
Well, that's just good unison right there between Duncan and Nesterovic. You see that Alston, that Bosch needs some touches. When he's in his zone, he's feeling good. Give him the ball instead of forcing shots.
Duncan turning and scoring. When in doubt, give it up to Super. Duncan again. Pass to Nesterovic and scoring.
And nice use of his body. On Mason check twice. Tim Duncan has been deflected on a dunk attempt by Lamar Murray.
Bosch driving. And he comes down on the floor with Duncan. What do we have? A jump.
They're calling a jump ball. Now from this angle, it appeared there was a little bit of contact on the arm. There was a lot of ball, but there was some contact on the arm as well.
Isn't it news when the Spurs don't win a home game by double digits? Every game they seem to win 92-87 or 92-77. And that been able to elevate over you and always can get a pretty clean look at the bucket.
Alan Henderson trying to hold his own. Duncan goes glass. He loves to go glass when he's in that spot on the left side of the floor.
Board referee say that?
Got him again. Yeah, it's just he can't. If they don't help him, he might go for 40 or more. And solid offensive play by a number of guys in the team. Tim Duncan's the only constant night in and night out.
And again from that left box, he goes glass over Booth.
Have a stretch where that jump shot goes south and San Antonio gets it going offensively. And they're going to find themselves down double digits and they can't find a way to get to the rim.
They double Duncan, who gets it again, goes before the double, and throws it down with the right hand. They out-rebound their opponents most nights. +4 their rebound margin. Duncan, the fake, the take them in. Dallas going to have to take a timeout here.
Today. This will be a drive.
On Duncan. Or on Bradley by Duncan, excuse me. Mike is having another good year. Parker's been terrific so far this year. Duncan connects to take the lead up to 10.
I thought
Brown was in trouble, but found as good a bailout as you can get. State Cancer Research is coming up this weekend. One more example of teams and the stars in this league involved in their community. Show package. Nowitzki, everybody closed out on him. He got bumped in the face by Duncan. Went to hold his nose.
8-5.
Came as a result of Bobby Sura's attempt at a steal, as we see Tim Duncan's block. Top 4 or 5 in the NBA and block shots. Having 2 7-footers down there makes it awfully tough, as we see again. Penetration from Parker and Ginobili and company, and they've been keeping Duncan outside that area right where he is now.
Well, Duncan able to get in closer. He's second to Andrei Kirilenko. Kirilenko 4 blocks per game, although he is sidelined on the injured list. Ginobili off a nice pass from Duncan.
Boy, does he do that well. But that shot was over.
Individual.
Easier to list the teams he hasn't played for, I think.
He is tied with Chucky Brown as Tim Duncan is able to bank it home for most teams. Craig, I thought Greg captured the play in the first half.
If you look up the term straight shooter in the dictionary, I think Bobby Sura didn't seem to mind having going on. Beautiful move there.
There's Duncan. Oh, a facial served up at Yao Ming.
Oh, my.
Shot clock to 6. Howard rejected by Duncan. That's number 4 for Duncan. He leads the by 6.
Well, I don't know if that was a shot or a pass, but it was a great play by Sura getting to the rim and allowing Yao Ming to get his slam dunk.
However, Tim Duncan.
So he is still a work in progress, but what a great young man and a great talent.
That counts on the foul. The foul on Sura. He pushed Duncan. Duncan still able to get the shot away, and he is headed back to the line.
Watch Duncan seal his man here. He seals Juwan Howard, which allows Nesterovic the passing lane. And how about this finish here? Sura grabs the right arm, so he just flings it up with the left, gets it to go. Had a chance to practice now for weeks.
Duncan off the double team. Rebounded by Duncan. It counts, and the foul.
With it to see again the missed jump hook that he usually makes, but he follows it up, gets the rebound, and then Padgett with the reach in. Tim Duncan now looking for his 23rd point.
10-2 run by the Spurs. Duncan is 8 of 9 at the line. And he's got it down. If he is able to continue this kind of free throw success, we are, as you mentioned earlier, we're going to see points added to that average.
Yeah, such a huge facet of his game. Just like Shaquille O'Neal, you know, he's going to go to the line so often that if we can get that percentage up there, it means a lot of points.
Well, Barrett with a good idea as he tried to get it to Yao Ming, but
prende il centro dell'area, sarà come sarà, però non è arrivato il raddoppio ed è nato un tiro molto più difficile rispetto a quelli precedenti. E intanto il vostro classic da 2+1 per Tim Duncan.
E la mette per terra. La presenza di Ilgauskas lo ha stimolato a giocare palla per terra. Discreto controllo per essere un 2-12, crossover contro James tra l'altro.
Dai e vai, alla fine la palla arriva transitando per...
A breakaway there that was taken away with the foul.
San Antonio is coming off arguably their most impressive offensive game of the season where they hit 15 threes. A little hook right there by Tim, the Indiana Pacers.
I would agree with that, especially with Steven Jackson still being out and now with Artest being gone for the season.
There's Duncan with a nice spinner right there. Jackson by the... As Tim Duncan spins inside on Foster.
I expect Duncan to go to work here in this period. Look like Tim Duncan's holding his left hip.
Robert Horry caught an elbow of Lamar Odom in the eye the other night here on Tuesday against the Los Angeles Lakers. Tim Duncan with a sweet spin move.
That drawing foul.
Stockton was like that too. Ginobili to Duncan. Miskovic tries to trap it in. Duncan! And that gives the San Antonio
offensively. Everything they've got right now is working. They're shooting a high percentage.
Both teams shooting 53%. Counting for two. As he hurdles Foster and takes it in. The foul goes on Jermaine O'Neal. And he's got 3.
Well, Rick Carlisle was upset. He felt that there was an offensive foul there. There was no call. So Jermaine O'Neal comes over. He gets there late. An opportunity for a 3-point play. A little flop there by Jeff Foster. Leon Wood would have nothing to do with that.
Foster is on Duncan. San Antonio is shooting 50% from the field. Great matchup, Duncan and Jermaine O'Neal.
That thing is money in the bank.
I'm not saying he's the best player. I'm quoting the coach.
Barry, a wide open 3.
All right. Good to see Brent Barry come alive. Spurs on a 3-game road trip. Tonight here in Phoenix. Then Sunday at Sacramento, huge game. Sacramento playing very well. And then up at Portland on Monday night, the Blazers thinking it up right now.
Richardson stripped down low by Ginobili. And off of the leg of Richardson. It's this lead for the Suns.
I've got me on my feet.
Duncan draws the foul and quickly quiets West Arena.
The ultimate silencer, Tim Duncan. Teammates say that he never talks to them.
Well, he's been much more vocal than he was earlier in his career. Duncan with the block rejects it out of bounds. He obviously feels pretty well. He told Jim Gray feels good. Stoudemire. Tipped out of bounds by Richardson. San Antonio ball. Brent Barry back in the game. Massenberg to pass in. A lefty shot from Tim Duncan.
You live in San Diego. You and your partner, Dick Heckman of the K2 Corporation, travel to every game. Can you keep up this pace, and are you going to be able to keep your voice and this type of enthusiasm?
I better. I'm only 43, so I got to have enough energy, and we're glad.
Playing brilliantly, going right at Tim Duncan. Milk him.
Duncan. And Duncan. Ooh. Strong to the goal. 3-point lead in the 4th quarter and overtime. Beautiful pass. Duncan misses, gets his own rebound, and a foul.
Look at the bench for San Antonio.
What a great entry pass, go Bill.
When you find yourself laying on your back, is that being affected?
All right, Duncan, put it on the floor, and scores! It is waved off, and they will... Duncan likes to go glass, but usually not from that range.
I think it's very easy to see there that the red light on the backboard is...
up front now, and it showed in their rebounding last night in Dallas in that regard.
He's been much more effective since Kevin McHale took over because he's a
matchup tonight.
And in Vegas, that's a pretty good number, and it's a pretty good number here tonight as well. Tim Duncan, you see, gets away a little bit of a travel, but that's all right. He goes to his patented turnaround jump shot. Tim Duncan, the offensive end.
And I'm sure Kevin McHale has personally demonstrated some post activity where he's concerned. 8 to shoot. Olowokandi again. Duncan knocks it away with his second.
And Michael Olowokandi, you know, get me once, you're not going to get me twice. He just hit a turnaround jumper on him, but Duncan blocks this one. But
Tim Duncan fires on Olowokandi.
Minnesota just really hasn't had the energy tonight.
Tim Duncan against Eddie Griffin. who weren't there last year, like Hudson, which gave them more depth than everyone thought. Sprewell, blocked by Duncan. Game. Parker in on Olowokandi. Duncan. Popovich before the game was concerned about injuries and depth right now, so the last thing you want to see is the Coyote kicked out. Unfortunately, I don't think it's going to be enough. 9 to shoot for Duncan, who's been unbelievable. Effortless and smooth. Here he is defending against Olowokandi. He popped it loose. You know, getting it done here. Olowokandi, trying to back him down. I'm not really sure why Minnesota would try to exploit that matchup.
And Tim Duncan missing his first shot. Launching his second here.
Well, you expect him to you've run out of gas. You get that quick second wind. There's a nice penetration. That's going to be a kiss off the glass by Duncan. But what you do is you go to the bench, you get Anthony.
Speaking of Martin, he's back in and can be taking a breather. Tim Duncan is back in the game for San Antonio. The little lob inside.
Everson, the way he goes to the basket and takes contact.
What a compliment. Udrich for 3. And he nails it. In the regular season, this rookie.
Only 1 turnover for San Antonio.
Brent Berry finds Tim Duncan down low, and it finally crawls in, and Duncan's got a game-high time. We've had 7 late changes in this game. Tim Duncan. Can be defended. Foul on Marcus. Spurs have won the last 2 games in this series after losing the opener in San Antonio to Denver. Nice block by Tim Duncan. He's back down in Texas. Tim Duncan and a foul on Nene, counted for 2. Duncan picked up by Marcus Camby, and the shot clock is down to 7. Banking it home, Tim Duncan with the game-high 29.
You've got to crowd him.
14 in this quarter, shades of game 1, when in the 4th they went 4 of 21. Tim Duncan, he's got a game-high 33-point shot, and the hit by Earl Boykins with 28 off the bench. Tim Duncan again, wheeling inside on Kenyon Martin. Boykins with help defense, and Duncan watches his 39th point creep in.
When he gives that ball up, you can't let him get the ball back.
And once again, Brent Barry starts as the off guard. Manu Ginobili will be coming off the bench. It's worked since game 2 of the series against Denver. And Tim Duncan gets the scoring underway. 3.5 gone by in the opening quarter.
See, and I like this. They're going in at least to James now. What he's got to realize is he doesn't have the clock.
And again, Tony Parker can't penetrate. Here's Duncan inside, blocked by James. And Duncan follows. And his third is a charge.
So you see the ability of Duncan to get to it
right now. Not as fluid as he normally is. He's a very fluid, beautiful basketball player. And he is a little bit hobbled. You got to hand it to him.
Duncan by back the man, and that's what the Spurs do.
Well, one of the things that enabled them to do that was that you would have been better off letting Ray Allen throw the entry pass to have an impact on this game. Duncan is absolutely angry at him right now.
Duncan with the basket and the foul. Tim Duncan with 17 points, 7 here in the 3rd quarter.
I don't think I want Tim Duncan to be angry at me.
No, I don't think so. And as you see, Tim Duncan, nobody can play Tim Duncan one-on-one. Reggie Evans is an undersized power forward. He's doing all he can do, but Tim Duncan loves this matchup.
But you guys have been just talking about how Evans has been a big factor in all of it.
That's okay. You got a good look at a 3-point shot off the double team.
Duncan, and you front Duncan, you get burned. And Harry Manu is the cheerleader on the sideline.
And I'd like to see Rashard go to the bucket there.
Udrich goes to Barry. And Duncan. Tim Duncan from outside. You leave him open. He'll hit. Duncan with 21 points. Duncan right now single covered by James. And Duncan's going to go up and under and score.
Did a nice job that time being physical with Tim Duncan. But you see they're playing the 3-point line. They're going to make a drive, and then you drive. There's Tim Duncan. And someone is always there with San Antonio.
Went a long time before the foul was called on. Back to Barry. Sitting at the perimeter, down to 5 now, and Duncan follows up his own miss. Well, maybe that'll be the difference.
Not really. Parker just went down the middle of the court.
And Allen back at the other end. Still. James is on Duncan. It's a clear out. Duncan comes through the paint. Hits the running field goal to put San Antonio up.
That was good defense. Going out there, hunting Ray Allen.
Allen trying to get it on Duncan. Got it back. Fade away. Short. This time Duncan clears. Spurs up a point. 6 minutes regulation. Duncan back outside again, makes it a 3-point lead. 10 on the shot. Patappa go to help. Allen keeps it. Duncan picks him up. Stays with him defensively. With 3 on the shot. Out of bounds. A terrific block. Watch this play by number 21 on the all-defensive team. And then off Bruce Bowen and out of bounds.
And that's interesting because the Spurs like to run. A lot of people think a half-court team. Greg Popovich says no. We like to get out on the transition.
Well, this is why it's going to be so important for them defensively. They've got to rebound the defensive board. You can't let Seattle get them both of those guys.
Nate McMillan said this is the most significant first quarter the Sonics have played all year. James going in and it rolls off. And Duncan
sticking with their defense the last game of going under on all the pick and rolls involving Ridnour and Daniels.
Here's Daniels shooting over Duncan. Tough shot with Duncan in front of him. A Duncan shot.
Evans did a very nice job of defending Tim Duncan on him dead anyway. He got me too deep, so I might as well go down.
And Evans working Duncan.
A bit more than what they're doing right now.
No foul on the play. Out of bounds. And Ridnour's shot might have been deflected. 4th in postseason. Duncan against Fortson. And a one-hander by Duncan, who has 9.
See, and that's where Fortson is at Mohammed on that one. When he moves on the weak side and gets into windows and guards doing the defense, he's a lot better player.
Duncan goes around James, and he looked like a man possessed on that area.
Boy, oh boy.
Wow. Ridnour to push it up. Now Bowen and Daniels. Daniels going strong to the basket, and it rolls off the rim.
I think he made a mistake there. He avoided the contact with Tim Duncan, but I think he could have created the foul.
So Nate McMillan staying with him, Mike.
And they're going right back at him.
Duncan with the one-hander scores. Duncan, who only scored much here. 7:45 remaining in the 4th quarter of the pivotal Game 5. 7 on the clock. Duncan. And it drops. Tim Duncan.
And James doesn't have a lot of movement to stay with him. That's why it's so much help coming, which will get somebody else an open shot.
Well, Bowen, but Daniels comes back and defends Bowen. Duncan goes out and hits. However you work it, Duncan moved out to the perimeter and hit. And Duncan now with 18 points, 13 boards.
Ori is coming up real big right in his spurt because it's important right in here that the Sonics don't pick up momentum.
Well, we've seen Ori before in the big playoff games. Duncan with a turnaround. Tim Duncan now with
Parker and Myra Ginobili from getting to the paint.
Parker the extra pass. Duncan is open. And Tim Duncan, who was 2 for 16, hits a big shot to tie the game. Back down and has played well.
Coming if he goes to the middle.
Duncan draws the foul and one. Tim Duncan finally gets a shot to fall, and he's got a chance for a 3-point play.
It's not what Tim Duncan did. A lot of the great players will do this. Watch, he sees James's arms are down. All he has to do is get his arms underneath James' arms and go up. You're going to get yourself to the free throw line. Watch right here. Arms down. Just take your arms and throw them up into James' arms. You're going to get the free throws. And now you get a chance for a 3-point play.
He does that as well as anybody in the NBA. Ginobili. Shuffle pass to Duncan.
Got another
Count
one.
It, and a foul. Duncan got bumped. Joe Forte looking up. He's going to see whether or not the ball went in, and if it was before the shot, but obviously a continuation.
Well, you're going to get your 2 best players right there. Ginobili trying to find a way to get to the rim. But watch here. Takes his time, and waits till James comes over. I thought that was a great job by Manu Ginobili.
Ginobili to Duncan. Duncan puts it in with 0.5 seconds remaining. And the Spurs take a 2-point lead. Timeout Seattle. Now they have plenty of time to get off a quality shot. They'll advance the ball to the front court with the timeout. So this one is not over.
Isn't that what championship teams do? They find a way. And I think Tim Duncan was actually waited a little too long. He was supposed to go a little earlier from the right block to the left block, opened up the lane. You're going to see right here. He was down here on the right side. Ginobili saw him break open on the left block, got it to him, and for a guy that's struggled with field goals all night, he sure managed to come up big in the fourth quarter when they needed it the most.
Ginobili with his 7th assist of the evening, and Duncan with 12 of his 26 here in the fourth quarter. Now Nate McMillan diagramming the play. You know, obviously they don't need a three.
Some of the early matchups you see, Stoudemire is on Muhammad. Duncan gets it inside, and an easy two for Duncan, who has Marion to start. That's a very interesting matchup.
Yeah, see, this is...
Bowen right back down to Duncan. And Duncan able to put it in.
Duncan is getting great looks at the basket.
To become a better player. And he had a spectacular season. Duncan off the glass.
That's his favorite move. Anytime on that side of the floor, if you do not get up on top of him and force him to dribble, he will bank it in. San Antonio, you got to get back to your best stuff. Take the double teams. That's exactly right. Take the double teams.
He's got a frequent chant here. This Duncan double team. Takes his time and strong finish.
Now, first of all, Marion fronts him in the paint.
Duncan. Hunter again defends him well. This time Duncan with a tough shot.
No, they're making Timmy work hard.
Good turn. Parker playing with Duncan. Tough catch for Duncan. And Tim Duncan now at 23. Heard of the me first attitude of athletes. He's got a you first attitude. Duncan left hand.
Now that was beautiful. That was set up with their heart.
Duncan single coverage. Jackson looking to cheat over. Duncan kicks it out. Barry a long three. That's good. That's Barry from way downtown. And Barry having a sensational game. He's got 18.
Barry is 18. They'll force to see how you're going to play. Can they get the entry into Duncan?
Duncan drops it in, and Tim Duncan with 27.
He's getting what he wants now, and also he's turning in with that left shoulder right into Hunter, and then coming up over the top.
So we see the first adjustment from game 1 to game 2. Stoudemire gets inside. Duncan can't handle it, but Parker comes away. And it's an 11-point lead.
A 5-time champion, Robert Horry, certainly knows what's at stake here tonight in a must-win game for Phoenix. Another turnover, Steve Nash.
Barry quickly down the other end. Parker on the trailer. Once again, Nash and Stoudemire doing most of the scoring. 32 of the 46 Suns points.
Great defense, Ginobili.
Richardson lost it.
And just balance is generally brilliant. They only had 6 in the first half. That was their first on the opening possession.
Duncan spinning inside, and Tim Johnson not playing. Johnson sometimes plays up the backup point guard. But he's playing so well.
He's not coming out.
Duncan inside, using the left.
Sun fans that Quentin Richardson is starting to heat up here. Tony Parker, he's an international player.
Duncan puts it in. And Tony very aware of that. But again, that's where they miss Joe Johnson, because he can play some backup point. Parker too strong. Duncan on the follow.
Elbow in the Dallas series quite regularly. Maybe just because he's been dunking so much today.
Tim Duncan puts it in. Spurs up by 3.
Behind his back, reverse spin. Remarkable.
Nash finding Stoudemire, drives inside, can't finish. To do in the fourth quarter of these 2 games. Ginobili, Duncan puts it in. And a lead back to 5.
To the hub, Duncan over their weak side.
Duncan deep in the post, and Stoudemire can do nothing.
That's all coming alive here. Rising is 1.
Stoudemire. Ginobili again with the strip. Ginobili to Duncan. An easy 2 for Tim Duncan, and the lead back to 9.
Mike D'Antoni wants a timeout. His team looks demoralized right now, but they don't see him.
Timeout, Phoenix.
Nash has taken 7 shot attempts. He's only scored 9 points. Tony Parker has 8 points on the other side.
Duncan defends Stoudemire beautifully. Ori, the extra pass. And this equals the largest lead of the half. 9 turnovers for the Phoenix Suns. Duncan, and a foul. Spurs taking control.
Interchangeability of the perimeter players here. Ginobili, Ori able to switch everything. Duncan always first-team NBA defense. And the Suns right now wildly out of control.
The Spurs defense has been absolutely superb here in the second quarter. About this, the Phoenix Suns have only scored 10 points here in the second quarter. Nash gets inside, does not get the roll. Parker has it, bumped out of bounds. Last touch by Stoudemire, San Antonio ball.
Tony here, forget the fact that you're down 2-0 and are getting pounded in every aspect of the game. Having most of the players for the Phoenix Suns in this game here.
Duncan with the left hand. Tim Duncan, 21 points, 10 rebounds, 3 assists.
Of this season, Joe Johnson being the free agent that he is. And they've already got huge contracts, Phoenix, for...
Suns would like that, be able to score some points with the clock stopped with this big deficit. Nash floating away. And Bruce Bowen the rebound.
Long rebounds, role play defense now.
Stoudemire goes at Duncan again, blocked by Duncan. And Ori the rebound. Parker looking for Duncan. Tim Duncan. Duncan on the inbounds. Duncan drops it in. 29 for Duncan.
And I'm going to think that next game, too. As the gap between someone who's just good and someone who is off the charts. Better than perfect, Tim Duncan. First round of the playoffs. Tremendous numbers playing with a bad ankle. Gets better in the second round against Seattle, which was an extremely difficult series as the Sonics played solid ball. And then in this series, just game in and game out. All around excellence. D'Antoni still trying to keep hope alive. But Phoenix is going to need an absolute collapse by the Spurs at this point.
Of course, with Duncan, when your star player is the hardest worker in practice, is the most unselfish player, everything seems to fall into place.
Look at the great teams and franchises in history.
Offensive rebounds for the Spurs, and Ginobili misses, but Duncan is there. There's another one, and he puts it back in. That sounds simple. Second quarter. Once again, Ori, with a great effort, kept that ball alive. Duncan off the glass. Poland has to whip the pass back outside to Jackson. Plenty of time. Stoudemire drives short off the front of the rim. And Duncan dribbles all the way down the floor. Duncan gets it back. Slam dunk for the lead. Now, Parker passing the 3. Now he'll take it. Duncan with the offensive rebound and the basket. Because of the tempo, they are going to push it quick. San Antonio. He is a great leader of this ball club, and he sets a high standard. They do not give up gimmicks. They are going to be in your face for the entire time. After the Udrih miss, it's the Duncan rebound and follow. Got to get you maximize your areas now. You got to go to your strength. Here's Stoudemire inside, contested by Duncan. He takes it away. Fantastic block.
Parker hesitant.
That won't get it done.
Shot clock at 4. Parker on, nice feed. That will get it done.
Absolutely.
Full team from Johnson. That's one of the differences he makes. Duncan, nice move, and flips it in. Leaving Nash out there, although taking a chance with his 2 fouls. Duncan drops it in. Many coaches, Bill, immediately over
Joe Johnson.
Stoudemire defends well. Duncan with a better play. Again, he didn't go to college, but he's a very intelligent young man. As Duncan gets inside, can't hit on the follow. And a good second effort from Tim Duncan, who has 10 points already. Duncan single coverage. Now they see Joe Johnson leaning to go help. It's Nash instead. And Duncan takes advantage. Just a reminder. Duncan off the glass.
Phoenix with Joe Johnson can guard Tony Parker.
Duncan with a finish and a foul.
Late whistle, but there was plenty of contact. That was the right call. And Duncan with a chance for a three-point play.
Let's get it going. Enough of this.
Duncan, instead of that, takes it himself. And the Spurs.
And you would think that Jackson would come alive with the return of Joe Johnson.
The perfect pick and roll. Ginobili to Duncan. Brent Barry wide open for three. Barry had that big game one where he had 21 points.
Jumpers, he's 2 for 2.
Duncan. And a foul. Tim Duncan able to put it in. Stoudemire went for the steal, and Duncan instead with a chance for a three-point play. Salvadori rushed it. Duncan right there on the foul. Lobs it into Duncan. Duncan gets inside. On the tip. Duncan puts it in.
Yeah, no margin of error for Phoenix.
Parker inside, left open. Parker puts it in. And it's a 7-point game with 50.
Duncan rolls through the lane, puts it up and in.
Okay, the double team came. The referee just lay. In the first 5 minutes, you must adjust.
And here's Duncan. The time. In fact, in one game in the playoffs early on, he scored 29 points. Here's Duncan coming up with it. But they get them
through. They're late. They're not getting them before they get in the lane.
Duncan puts it in. Pressure on what might be the final possession of the half. It's knocked away, and they will not get a shot off. So very good. A little shot in the snout right there. Back it comes to Ginobili beyond the arc to knock down a three-pointer. 1-point game.
Yeah,
far underneath the basket.
Oh, air ball.
Bowen misses a two-pointer. And turning toward the baseline and
not a bad way.
Beautiful, whatever it takes. Here's Duncan inside. And Duncan's scoring and going to the line. Like that. Duncan as they reset the shot clock to 4. No. Gives it up to Duncan. Turnaround.
Over the top of the defense.
He sensed it, exploited it, and you get a block here on the other end. Duncan comes out to help Ginobili defensively. They whip it around outside to Rasheed Wallace. Antovic was the best man at Larry's wedding, and Tim Duncan's first shot of the game is good, and he gets fouled. 3-point.
In the first 6 minutes of the game, Duncan did not attempt a shot. Now, this is his first look. He'll stay within the offense, and as long as everyone is moving the basketball, he'll wait for his...
And one team's going to shoot 60% as Bowen drives and lays it in off the glass, and then Duncan is there for the final.
We have not seen that in this first half.
Rainer Udrich with his Ginobili imitation. Out to Duncan from way outside. French contested by Duncan and out of bounds. Third foul. Tim Duncan.
That's the first time tonight that Duncan has been able to post Rasheed Wallace right on that defensive circle. First time.
He gets it back. He still goes right. He goes around Barry, and then Parker gets the rebound. Lost it for the moment. Wallace guarded by Duncan. Turns to his left, misses the rim, and Ginobili comes away with it, and he has it knocked away. Hamilton step. Here's McDyess. In this game, Prince, Bowen is on him. And Ginobili comes away with the ball. Hamilton now with Duncan on him. Drives by him. Can't put it in.
I like that guy.
Parker whips it back outside to Bowen for a 3. And it gets tipped up and in by Duncan.
Not go asleep. Rasheed Wallace must attack Tim Duncan down in the low post area and force him to play him.
Turn around. Now McDyess tries to get by Duncan, has the ball knocked away.
Yeah, he tries and let him operate.
Duncan will work it back to Bowen. 3-point attempt for Bruce Bowen from the corner on his 34th birthday to tie for the Spurs in almost 10 minutes. Duncan. And Tim Duncan.
And your game is like, nah. And he said it definitely set a charge up under him because he said usually, you know, you come home, your wife says, hey, nice game.
Inbounded to Tayshaun Prince. spin move through the lane, lost control of it. Here comes Parker.
Unfortunately, they've had too many turnovers.
Duncan, and when Duncan goes off the glass, it is money in the bank.
Yeah, well, you want to play solid defense, try to hold them to one shot, or get the turnover. There it is right there.
There's the turnover here.
Now, that's one of the very few that you have seen in 3 games plus less than a minute.
And then Duncan scores. G. Wallace working on Duncan. Over him. Ginobili clears it. I'm laughing to myself even because he says the free world as Duncan goes in and misses. And Duncan gets it back and scores. And Popovich out there for San Antonio. And Duncan keeps it alive to Brown. And then Duncan goes in with the left hand to put it in.
Good second effort there.
And that's why you win the Defensive Player of the Year award multiple times. It gets it back to Arroyo, and that is shoved right back in his face by Tim Duncan. And only 2 seconds are on the shot clock on the inbound here. Violation, no foul on that last play. We'll change the possession now. And it was actually a foul, and the foul was on Rip Hamilton, and that will be
run time off the clock. No quick shots.
Prince,
nice block. Oh, quick move.
Duncan. Rasheed Wallace. Ginobili goes by Prince, drops it off underneath for Duncan, and he puts it in to make it 2-0.
Yeah, they ran what we call in basketball. No double team now.
Duncan one-on-one with Wallace and puts it in. Duncan looking around for in the thigh early in game 3. Everybody's saying he's fine, but you tell me. Here's Duncan putting it in.
The emphasis has been
here. Then moved around, won a ring with the Lakers a couple of years ago, then a ring with Detroit last year, and seeks some more jewelry here. Wallace comes up with a loose ball. And Ori now for San Antonio.
Excellent defense on Rip Hamilton that time. That was a tough move.
Tony Parker, that can't drop, but Duncan is the... Wallace on him, and over him goes Duncan to put it in.
But nothing is going, and you're getting some bad shot attempts now.
And Hamilton throws it away. So the Pistons coming off that phenomenal... Ginobili in the lane, puts up a prayer. Duncan is there for the jam. Play resumes, 7.5 to go. Third quarter, and Duncan blocks that one out of bounds, and the shot clock is at 6. Wide open. Ginobili with the rebound underneath the Duncan for the layup. Rasheed Wallace, one-on-one with Duncan. Fades away and doesn't get it, and Barry is there under. Ori inside. Duncan from the lane drops it in.
Tough catch. Unfortunately, that one just did not go down for him, but he had a high percentage shot.
Duncan underneath from Ori. It's the Duncan Wallace show again. And this time, Duncan gets it back after it was knocked away. Rasheed Wallace says, where's the travel? There was none in the game.
Keeps balls alive. Gets you the second shot attempt.
Here's Duncan missing. Duncan keeps it alive. And Duncan was almost tied up, gets it back, scores, and gets fouled. Great play by Duncan.
Just a terrific effort by Duncan. All right, he misses the shot. Now just watch. Before that, he missed the shot. He went up in traffic, kept it alive, kept his arms up high, and then he makes the strong move. Solid call by the referees, and that's just working hard. Like he said, I'm the leader. I've got to get it done here under pressure.
And here, they take the clock down to 6. Chauncey still with it all the way. Can't get it to drop. Duncan gets the rebound. Timeout, San Antonio.
Excellent look by Billups.
Rasheed Wallace now has 6 points. Ori and Brent Barry are in the game as Tim. Duncan through the lane, lays it in.
Right there, uncomfortable in. That's why you had the air ball.
Ben Wallace will drive. Duncan
came in and told him he was drafted 57th. He said, for me, it was the best thing that ever happened to me. 57 was the best thing.
Percent from the free throw line. Dice missing.
Yeah, that was tough defense by...
Duncan gets it back from Parker from 17. Ben Wallace. And then Duncan loses Ben Wallace.
Ben Wallace got pinned. Duncan worked very hard. After that score, he motored down the floor, posted up on the defensive circle, and pinned Ben Wallace behind him.
Three guards in the lineup now for Detroit, and Tim Duncan turns around and ties the game.
Breather here, and then for them to work on it if it can be repaired.
Ginobili. Mono Ginobili. Makes it a one-point game. Ginobili. Duncan.
Now they luck out right there. The Detroit.
Rasheed gets it. One-on-one with Duncan. 5 on the clock. Wild layup attempt, and then Prince is there, and he misses. And San Antonio comes back down. Duncan in low. Gets the bounce.
That was a strong move. Rasheed tried to...
Guarded by Tayshaun Prince. Duncan comes way outside with Wallace on him, and then puts it up off the glass. Horry has come into the game for the first time. And underneath is Duncan to put it back in. 2,000 the coach asked about to get a straight out of there. And there's the block, and Barry comes back the other way.
Now they'll go Ben Wallace on Horry, but then great block by Duncan.
And Horry responds at the other
by Billups.
Pistons by 2. Duncan to tie it up.
Over in this game, he has 6 assists.
Here's Duncan inside. Gets it back, puts it in, and gets fouled.
In game 5, when San Antonio won this game, not there, right here. This is where Duncan was a monster in that second half in the overtime. 8 offensive rebounds. It was a clean block.
Duncan, this time he's got Prince on him. And Duncan puts it in and gets fouled.
In Emblem, that the small unit can defend. But right there, Prince had to pick up Duncan, and as soon as San Antonio saw that, the ball went right in, and you have Duncan in a strong move.
Duncan now. Tim Duncan banks one home. 53 all.
Ben Wallace did.
And Duncan gets free and off the glass.
Well, that can't happen. Mainly because there's 4 seconds. You got to belly up on your man to the post and posted up Parker.
Duncan with a dunk.
Beautiful. Remember we told you about Duncan's offensive rebounding. That's his 5th of this game.
Now Bowen from outside, and Bruce Bowen, who's been pretty quiet from three-point land. He loves to shoot from the corners. He doesn't shoot from that angle that often. Duncan puts it on the floor, lays it off to Ginobili. With 2 on the clock. Huge. With tough defense. And Tim Duncan answering a lot of questions and erasing any doubt about coming up big when you have to come up big. And for the 3rd time in 7 seasons, the San Antonio Spurs are the NBA champions.